Hello and welcome to my new Ravine guide that uses very, very cursed strategy. This is going to be fun. Anyways, let's start off by placing a dart monkey right over here as high as possible in such a way so that this little corner of the tree, this one right here, goes through the middle of the range border. And set this dart to strong. And then place another dart monkey up here in such a way so that the range border goes through this corner and this corner. And then set this guy to last. And then, no real visual indicators for this guy, just shove him as top right as possible. And keep him on first. If you've gotten these placements correctly, and yes, they are very precise, you should be able to beat round 6. And then on round 7, upgrade your bottom dart to quick shots, and then, in most cases, you want to click the sword 23 times before the round starts, and then just click it once when there's only one green balloon left. But here, I just felt like spamming it mid-round. And then, for round 8, place a dart monkey just shoved as high as possible into this corner, below your other one. For round 9, just place a dart monkey as top left as possible inside of this corner. It's not too hard, and make sure that you set him to strong. In the middle of round 10, upgrade your upper left dart monkey to a 0-2-0 quick shots. If you don't do that, you will not be able to beat the round, so make sure you do that. And then, in the middle of round 12, get that same dart to triple shot. Before round 14, just shove a dart in this little gap next to your other dart. It might take a little bit of time to find it, but you should be able to find the one very small spot that you can place it. And yeah, if you've done that, round 14 should just win itself. I don't really know what to say. And then after 14, just place a sniper right up here and set him to strong. Before round 16, get this guy to very quick shots, or a 0-2-0. And then, after 17, get him to a triple shot. Or before 17. Just get him to a triple shot. For round 21, set your sniper to last. This is very important because we need to be able to beat the round without placing anything. Yes, we can afford Psy mid-round, but we're not going to place them now, just so round 22 is more consistent. Because if we place them mid-round, then there could be a bunch of variation, and that's annoying. So after 21, place Psy right up here. And we have to do a bit of Psy micro. Set them to last. And keep your sniper on last for this round, very important. Set Psy on last for 2 shots. Strong for 2 shots, and then set him to first. If you've done that correctly, you should just win. And then set your sniper back to strong and upgrade it to full metal jacket for 23. And then set Psy back to strong as well. If you feel scared, you can set them to first, but you shouldn't have to. Before 25, place a sniper as high as possible right over here. You want it to be able to see this entire entrance. That's very important for later. And set the sniper to strong as well. And also, I guess if you feel scared, you can use a stun. Shouldn't have to, though. You really shouldn't have to. And then, for round 27, upgrade your bottom sniper to shrapnel, and set Psy to last. Setting Psy to last makes small gaps in the Bloons, and that just makes it easier for our defense to be able to handle them. And also, apparently there might possibly be a tiny bit of RNG here, so switch side first if you feel scared. And then after the round, set him back to strong. And there is a possibility of bad sniper shot timing on your top sniper, so use a stun on 28 just to make sure that doesn't happen, and then get your bottom sniper to an 022. It's a lot. It really is a lot. And then for 31, if you feel scared, I guess you can use a stun. You shouldn't have to in like 99% of cases though. So if you feel scared, do it. But you won't have to, probably. .34 always looks very scary with this setup, but if everything's on the right targetings, you should be completely fine. And I guess you can use a Psy stun if you really, really feel that scared for whatever reason. You shouldn't. You really shouldn't be scared. It's just a bunch of yellows. What can yellows do to you? And then upgrade your bottom sniper to a 023 semi-auto, mid 35, and then once you've done that, set it to first. For 36, the first wave can seem a bit scary, but I'm not entirely sure if it's possible to die to it. I think I've tested this like 15-20 times at this point, and I haven't died to it once. And then stun the last wave. Just standard things with Psy. That got very scary. I don't think that happens normally. I don't think it does, at least. For 38, once a bunch of leads split on the left lane, you want to use a stun just to make sure that Psy can take all of them out and not get overwhelmed. Trust me, it doesn't get as scary as it looks here most of the time, so yeah. And then after 38, you should be able to get your sniper to a 024 full auto rifle. I'm pretty sure this is also one of the few times I've ever seen a Ravine early game without a Druid of the Jungle. It's just not in the budget to get 024 sniper before 40, and 023 can't kill the Moab. Oh yeah, and then stun the Moab in 40 just to be 174% safe. Before 43, place a village right over here next to your sniper. You might want to place it a bit more up and left than I do, but you shouldn't have to. And then upgrade that village to a 002 discount. And then place a druid right over here in the main intersection, and upgrade it to a 040 Jungle's Bounty. You'll only actually be able to afford the Jungle's Bounty upgrade on 45. Once you've gotten the Jungle's Bounty, we start saving up to the Elite Defender. For round 50, you can stun the first Moab if you feel scared. You shouldn't have to though. Your druid and your sniper should team up and delete the insides. And I think you only want to stun the Moab, the second Moab that is, if it splits left. If it goes right, which it has every single time for me, you shouldn't have to. For round 52, you want to use a stun the instant you see a Moab. Just the instant you see the Moab, use the stun. It's very important that you do that. And then buy Elite Defender as soon as you can. Shrapnel Elite Defender really just isn't that good, and it's not that strong of a tower, but I guess it kind of works here, so why not use it? It totally doesn't cost like 25k, and 63 is still really, really sketchy. No way. And then get your village to Jungle Drums. And get your druid Hard Thorns. Not Thunder, because Thunder sucks and just isn't worth it. .63 is a very weird round, because you 100% have to stun the first wave, just to like kind of reset your druid vines and prevent RNG in a way. Prevent RNG for the second wave? I don't really know. And speaking of the second wave, I actually have encountered a tiny bit of RNG with this. Like, I've done it around 15 times and I've only died once, so I guess you could count that as a bit of RNG, because we can't afford to use any abilities, because we have to stun the third wave, or scream the third wave, that is, because it has slightly more ceramics. And then on 64, use a stun when you see a fortified Moab. Normal Moabs are fine, it's only the fortified ones which are scary and we need to stun them. Because, yes, a 25k tower, they can barely kill fortified Moabs. Kinda reminds me of another tower, a certain tier 5 dart monkey. I'm kinda forgetting which one it is. '71 can seem pretty scary, but I've never died to it, and try your hardest to not use any abilities on 71, because 72 is a real problem round. If the first BFB splits left, you have to stun it. You just have to. And if the second BFB also splits left, use a scream. Or just, yeah, if one BFB splits left, and then if another BFB splits left, use scream. But I've only had them both split left once. Shouldn't happen too often. But one usually does split left. And then for 74, same thing. If the BFB splits left, then you probably have to stun it. I'd advise you doing that because one time I didn't stun it, and I almost died. And you wouldn't want to be the first person to ever die to round 74. And then, for 75, you do have to use a stun and possibly a scream depending on some RNG factors. When there's a massive rush of Moabs that reach Psy, use a stun just to try and stall them a little bit. And then, if it takes your elite defender ages to kill them, you might have to scream the insides of the second fortified Moab. I probably didn't have to here, I just got very scared. And then in the middle of the last few BFBs, you should be able to afford the Spirit of the Forest. This is the main carry tower of the run, and will do a massive majority of our damage. So my mouse slipped and I had to reset because I placed this village in a very stupid spot because my mouse slipped. Yeah, I just reset quickly. Didn't change anything though. Just place a village there and upgrade it to 002 discount, and then place a glue right up here, right above your dart monkey, inside the discount range, hopefully. Well, it kinda has to be. Yeah. And then upgrade it to a 014 relentless glue set to strong, and then place a boomerang right over here and upgrade it to a 204 Moab press. This is definitely better than the 024 crosspath because it has much more pierce and bigger pushbacks, and we would prefer those over increased damage and reduced stalling. The next few rounds should get absolutely owned by our 2 tier 5s and minor support. So, yeah. Actually, from my testing, the fortified BFBs on 82 can get a bit sketchy, so if you feel scared, scream or stun. Doesn't really matter which one you use. After the first ZOMG on 85 pops, we'll be able to afford the super glue. Super Glue is a very interesting tower because it used to absolutely suck before this update, and now with the price buff and some other smaller buffs, it might actually be a pretty good tower and absolutely carries every single DDT here, which is very important. Very important for this setup. And then upgrade your top village to a jungle drums, and give your super glue a 301 alchemist. The reason we're getting an alch buff on our super glue, even though it doesn't really do damage, is so that it has slightly increased pierce and a bit more range to be able to hit DDTs reliably. And the attack speed. The attack speed helps a lot more than I thought it would. Before round 90, place an engineer right over here, next to your dart. Nope, not an alchemist, an engineer, right up here. It doesn't have to be in discount range. It really shouldn't be in discount range, because if it is, then you probably won't be able to fit a discounted first strike later. But yeah, just place it over here, and upgrade it to a cleansing foam, and set the targeting right up here. We want this to be able to decamo every single DDT, and if a DDT makes it out of like the starting split right there, use a stun to immediately catch it, because super glue might miss it if you don't do that. But then after round 90, just set your cleansing foam right directly on that tree stump. That should decamo every single DDT that comes in practically instantly. So, yeah, that's nice. And then before 92, place a spike factory right over here, just right over here. Make sure that it cannot hit, or it cannot place spikes on the top track. We want it to be entirely focused on the bottom track. And then mid-round, upgrade it to a 240 Spike Storm. 92 most likely won't get a chance to exist on screen, which is pretty nice, because 92 tends to be pretty rough on this map. This 240 Spike Storm will be used as a last line of defense against DDTs, just in case Super Glue misses any, which it most definitely will. It definitely will miss a few. On 93, you shouldn't have to use it because Super Glue should be able to hit all of these DDTs. 94 also just straight up doesn't get a chance to exist. Like, the Moabs don't even move. It's kinda crazy. Super Glue plus Spirit of the Forest unironically cracked strategy. It's a shame we're using Sai, who absolutely sucks with Spirit of the Forest. But yeah, no, not a Druid, a Spike Factory. You want another 240 Spike Storm right up here. This guy will be used as some very valuable bad damage later on, and also helps against DDTs on 95 if you feel scared for whatever reason. Usually, if Super Glue misses a DDT, you want to use a Spike Storm if Super Glue misses a DDT, which it probably will. Like, it'll definitely miss multiple. Your Spike pile at the back can tank a few DDTs, but once you see more than like 2, definitely use it. And then if you feel even more scared, just use another Spike Storm, but you probably won't have to. And then, on 96, place a bomb shooter right over here. Yup, right over here in discount range, and upgrade it to a 420 Bloon impact. This guy isn't required in every run and is mostly here as just a safety measure if like fortified ceramics make it past the top section and Spirit of the Forest isn't catching them. Because Elite Defender can't clean up, it just can't. It kinda sucks at that. But then, yeah, if you feel scared on 96, feel free to use any abilities, because we do not need any next round. And then, also upgrade your top village to primary training, just so Super Glue can get a tiny bit more range, which is pretty important. like, very important for 99 specifically.
Behold the bloated queen of envy. There is no bloom.
'98 is kind of different every single time. Usually there are two big rushes of Moabs, of fortified Moabs that go on the left lane. On the first one, use a stun, and if they're not getting hit by anything, you have to use a scream. And here I got lucky and there wasn't a second rush, but if there was a second rush there, I might have been screwed because I used both abilities on the first rush. Bloon Impact will have to clutch up a few times and chase the Bloons, which isn't ideal, but it has to happen. It just has to happen. And make sure to not use a Spike Storm on 98, because you need to save that for 100, and 99 isn't long enough for the cooldown to come back up. Also, the reason why there's a cut there is because I had to do something completely different for a little bit, and yeah, don't worry about that. And then, if a fortified DDT touches your bottom spike pile, you have to use a Scream to clean up the ceramics. You 100% have to, because the rest of your defense probably won't. And then, for around 100, place that first strike that I keep talking about under the discount range. And then, give your top spike factory a 3-2-0 Alchemist. Just 3-2-0, not 4-2-0 or anything. Just 3-2-0. And then, round 100 goes pretty simple. All you gotta do is wait until the bad touches the highest damage vines, or like the most blue ones, and then just fire off both Spike Storms very quickly. If you do that, that should deal a ton of damage to the bad, and it should be heavily crippled. And then you kind of just have to wait as late as possible to use a first strike. If you didn't have to use Scream on 99, you can use a first strike a bit earlier, and then use a Scream immediately to clean up the insides. But yeah, if you've done everything right, and trust me, it is a lot, you should now have your Ravine Black Border with probably the most cursed and weirdest strategy. You never see 3 tier 5s on Ravine, you always have spiked balls on Ravine, and you rarely use a hero that isn't called Geraldo. Anyways, have a nice rest of your day. Goodbye.